What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review for Bleach: The Thousand Year Blood War. This is episode 6, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Definitely, I can.
They went in on the animation in this episode. Like, I know a lot of people are like, I find it funny because there are a lot of people that were saying, you know, the animation has been like dropping in quality and stuff, and then they come out with this. And I mean, they kind of had to go in with the animation in this part of the story, you know, because it seems like it's, you know, from what I've heard from the manga readers, like it's a pretty big moment. So I would think, yeah, they would definitely pull out all the stops with, you know, the animation quality.
Yeah, I mean, people have been hyping this up since last week because people knew how good this next section was going to be. It definitely exceeded everyone's expectations. I mean, in terms of the animation style, this animation style has been used before in other series, especially I think what was it? Demon Slayer, Mugen Train, several past episodes of Bleach, Naruto, Mushoku Tensei, Haikyuu, among a lot of other stuff that whoever's worked on this. It's, you know, you get to see like it's the same style of animation, which you see like these fast-paced but almost near accurate, you know, camera transitions with the action that they showcased on this episode. It's just like, you know, they really wanted to, you know, showcase how good this scene was.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fluidity with the animation, with all the fast movements.
Yeah, and of course there was a lot of CGI as well, but I thought, you know, it fit well with that one particular scene, which they showcased a lot of CGI in that moment.
Yeah, but this is so yeah, the majority of the episode is pretty much this fight of Yamamoto versus Iwak, and I mean it's basically just picks up exactly where the last episode left off on that cliffhanger, where, you know, they were about to fight, and that's what the majority of it is. But we do also have some scenes where we see Uryu reading about the history of the Quincy extermination and what Yamamoto had to do with that. That happened 1,000 years ago, and also the basically it seems like, yeah, it happened 1,000 years ago, and then like I guess like 200 years ago they like wiped out, I guess, the remaining Quincy's because they realized they could not they couldn't like coexist with them.
No. But yeah, like majority of this episode was just focused on Yamamoto and Iwak, and of course we all know, we've always seen like how Yamamoto has utilized Ryujin Jaka, but now we get to finally see his Bankai form named Zanka no Tachi, and it just you know, it just goes on a whole different another level. Like, at first, like, we see just a huge amount of flames enveloping Yamamoto, saying that, you know, he absorbs all the heat, in which, like, you know, he's essentially the sun itself. Like, every step he takes just, you know, melts the ground. But what's also interesting is when he unleashes the full potential of the Bankai, it creates this massive heat wave throughout the entirety of the Serite, to the point where Toshiro Hitsugaya's stolen Bankai can't be, you know, properly released just due to the immense heat wave of you know, of that.
Yeah, it like changes the entire atmosphere around the Soul Society.
Yeah, yeah, and once it happens, we see Yamamoto's blade just turned into like a scorched version, you know, of his Zanpak toe. Just essentially just one strike of that thing will just essentially annihilate anything, you know, from the tip of the blade.
Yeah, because he basically says that like all of his flames or all of the heat is contained within the blade.
Yeah, and not only that, he also unleashes like another ability in which he's able to, I guess, unleash the corpses or dead bodies of the people that not only Yamamoto has killed, but also Iwak is killed as well.
Yeah. What was really interesting too, just to show off how powerful the like his son Bakto is in that form. Like every time he like narrowly misses Yawak, like there was just a it creates this just giant like it just splits the ground into just like one hit from that thing like splits the entire ground and just destroys anything around it.
Yeah, it's just basically just seeing like how powerful he is. I mean, it's hard to imagine how Yamamoto never really took um things on his own hands during the Aizen arc. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, seeing this, like, I feel like he could have. It almost feels like he could have pretty handily kind of taken out Aizen or taken him down. Um, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, of course, Aizen at that point in the story was like on the level of a god basically because of the Hogyoku. I mean, you could argue Yawak is as well. Um, so it's hard to say. Like I feel like they would it almost seems like they might have maybe not would have been evenly matched. But of course, that that's not how things happen. But yeah, it's just seeing this, like I would think, yeah, he could easily like go toe to toe with Aizen and potentially win
Yeah, but
if he pulled out his Bankai.
it just seems like throughout the entirety of this fight, it looked like Yamamoto had the advantage throughout the entirety of this fight.
It was pretty one sided, yeah. Like the only time like Yawak tried to do anything was when he had created this barrier trying to protect himself from Yamamoto, and he says it's a defensive barrier, but also has like an offensive properties or something. But that was when, of course, like you mentioned, Yamamoto has the skeletons come out and just surround Yawak, and these are all the souls of the Quincy's that were exterminated, I guess, 1,000 years ago. And also during this fight scene, we get these flashbacks as well with the younger Yamamoto facing off against Yawak. I guess this is from 1,000 years ago, and like the corpses of his men are all around him. So that was pretty interesting how they did that.
Yeah, and soon after that, apparently Yamamoto decides to just end it all and just completely, I guess, bisects the guy, and you see like his almost half of his body just completely just torn in half. But then something happens at the end of this episode. As soon as Yamamoto deactivates his Bankai, we find out that this Yawak was not Yawak the entire time. And it turns out that it was another one of Yawak's subordinates that actually impersonated him, and the real Yawak was actually underneath the Squad 1 headquarters.
I can't say I expected that.
Yeah,
also, I'm kind of surprised that Aizen showed up so soon too. I kind of thought he would show up eventually, but I didn't realize he shows up now. But apparently, like in the manga, this conversation between Aizen and Yawak is there's only like a panel to it. So I think they kind of expanded on it a bit in the anime. But it was also just really cool seeing Aizen again. But of course, we all know he's been like locked up in the underneath the Soul Society, and he's basically been restrained so that his powers are also restrained, so he can't do anything. But basically, Yawak is asking Aizen pretty much to join him, because they have according to Yawak, they have the same goal of destroying Soul Society, but Aizen refuses. I don't remember exactly, like, I don't know if he really gives a reason for it. He just doesn't want to join him.
Yeah, he said that there's no place for another king in the Soul Society of sorts. I think
I guess because Aizen wants to be the one and only. Like he doesn't want to share any kind of power with Yawak. He just wants he wants it all for himself, I suppose.
Yeah. And even with Aizen refusing, Yuak, says that, that he wants to kill Aizen even when he refuses. But but they mentioned that it's still impossible for anyone to kill Aizen even when he's locked up, because I think there's like this special seal that, not only prevents him from escaping, but also makes it more difficult for him to get killed.
I think Aizen is I guess maybe manga readers can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Aizen is technically immortal because of the Hogyoku. He pretty much he can't die, like he can like he can't be sealed away like he is, but I don't know if he can be killed.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to tell, but yeah, soon afterward, Ewok just decides to just leave the prison and then just confront Yamamoto, who's pretty much exhausted himself from using that Bankai. And yeah, this just completely catches Yamamoto off guard to the point where he tries to unleash the Bankai again, but then Ewok decides to steal the Bankai soon after that, and this just pretty much leads Yamamoto in a vulnerable position to be pretty much sliced in half soon after by the end of this episode.
It's kind of interesting. I just thought of it. Like, I think it was kind of weird. Like during this whole fight, the Ewok that was the imposter. Like, it would have. He never tries to steal the Bankai or Yamamoto's Bankai. And I never really thought about that. And now I'm just like, it makes sense because he's just basically trying to keep Yamamoto busy. While the real Ewok is talking.
Yeah, there was another reason for that. It's just Yamamoto mentions that the only way you can really steal a Bankai is you have to get to know what the Bankai.
You have to understand it.
Yeah, you have to understand it. And Yamamoto has hid certain details of how his Bankai worked. I mean, he used it against Ewok before, but he never used it to that extent that he did in this episode.
Well, yeah, and then the real Ewok steals it, and he, the real Ewok says the reason for that is because he's the only other person who would be able to handle it or something, other than Yamamoto, because they're on like the same kind of, I guess they're on like the same level. But yeah, like now Yamamoto is pretty, like he doesn't have his Bankai anymore, and Ewok ends up using like this giant, like just it looks like a giant arrow at first, but then it turns into like, I guess, a reishi sword. He pretty much looks like Yamamoto got dealt a fatal blow. We don't really see all of it, but he slashes Yamamoto, and it does not. We don't see all, like I said, we don't see all of it, but it doesn't look good. I have seen the manga panel that this is adapted from, or at least I think it is, but I just really don't like that the episode cuts off here because it kind of leaves everybody in suspense as to what really happened to Yamamoto, and I guess that's the point. But we just see like part of him, and we see all the blood. But it doesn't really look good for Yamamoto.
I gotta be honest. I'm really starting to hate the moment that I see the end credits start rolling.
Yeah, same.
Yes, but now we have to wait another week to just find out. It's like where it goes from here. Now it's just like Yamamoto is pretty much done at this point, and the Soul Society. It's obviously going to create like massive chaos, like, throughout the Soul Society at this point, and all the captains who've like, have an increased amount of morale with Yamamoto being there are now just, it's just gonna, disappear all at once, and we're just gonna see like a continuation of all the mass slaughter and, just everything just go downhill for everyone in the Seirete.
Yeah, it's things were looking up, and now it's now, like you said, I think their morale is going to go back down, and I don't know. I'm wondering what's gonna, like, if the the Quincy's are gonna try to push the advantage and just completely take over, or if they're gonna, I don't know what they're gonna do, honestly, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, like, there's still the question of if Ichigo is going to be able to escape and get there. But, of course, by the time he gets there, like, everything you know, everything's already been like destroyed. Like, you know, some of the Soul Reapers may or may not be dead. So yeah, it's like he pretty much will get there. By the time he gets there, it might just already be too late. But yeah, I thought this is definitely definitely one of the best episodes. Like even the episodes that haven't been as good were still like really good. So, but these are just like, I thought this episode 1, like, what was it? Episode 3, I believe. And yeah, so they've pretty much all been good, but this one, just in terms of its animation, is just probably the best we've seen so far, I would think, animation wise. But yeah, I don't really know if you have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the best episodes. I would say it will likely be the best episode of this course so far.
Yeah, that is, if there's anything else that happens that kind of ends up like surpassing it, which is likely, considering we still have a few episodes to go. I mean, like, it's not over yet. So
technically, I don't think we're even. Wait, are we even halfway through this core? Or yeah, I think we are. We are.
Yeah, at this point. But yeah, I'm kind of. Yeah, like I know like a lot of some of what happens at the beginning of this arc, but then like after this point, I'm not really gonna know where the story goes exactly. So I would be interested to see what's going to happen next. But yeah, like I said, this is definitely the best episode in terms of its animation quality. Like it really blew me away when I saw a lot of it. And I kind of hope there is, maybe before the core is over, maybe another episode like this where there's some big fight. Preferably, maybe something with Ichigo, where we just see like some animation that's on the same level. I'd really want to see that. But yeah, I don't really have too much else to say about it. It was definitely worth the wait. Because we were all like, left in suspense last week because of the way that that episode ended, and even more so this week because this one just ends on an even bigger cliffhanger that and it's just such a big character too. I mean, and we really don't know what happened to him if you're an anime only watcher. But yeah. But that all being said, guys, until next Monday, we will see you all next time.